So yeah, I'm gonna be quitting Monster Hunter Wilds for now. There is a couple of reasons for this. I'm gonna basically be giving you my review. I'll talk about the good and the bad, but first of all, do I recommend this game and to who? This is probably one of the best Monster Hunters to jump in if you are a new player. For veterans, there is a lot to like here, a bunch of evolutions, especially in combat, good quality of life, but I feel like some of the stuff that they made a lot more easier might take away from the really core experience of what makes Monster Hunter really special. So let's talk about all of that. First of all, what's my connection to the franchise? How many games have I really played of Monster Hunter? Well, I started with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate on the 3DS, then I played Generations and then Generations Ultimate, obviously played World, the DLC, also Rise, and then the DLCs, and yes, I have played the side games as well, such as Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2, and a little bit of the iOS game that has like GPS stuff. That game is crazy. I have a review on that game if you want to see it. So, all right, how much time have I spent in the new game? So far, around 50-ish hours over a couple of days. The game is, almost a week old as I'm recording this, and pretty much I have completed all of the main and side quests, including all of the optionals. I got my hunter rank to around 70 plus or so, and at the moment, as of recording, there is nothing left to do but small little meta grinding, upgrading your characters, re-rolling artists and weapons, and maybe getting what you need. But yeah, hopefully as the weeks and months go by, there's gonna be new events, etc. But first of all, what are the game's biggest selling points? What makes Monster Hunter Wilds amazing and fun to play? Well, as I mentioned at the very beginning, this is very new player friendly. There is a lot of, and I thought World was new player friendly, but this one is insanely catering to new people. Lots of tutorial, lots of talking. However, the combat is still top notch as always, really good. It has a lot of stuff from World. It took some stuff from Rise, and then it kind of mixes it and matches it, and increases stuff. They didn't really take too much away, but they added a lot more new things. So if you just come from World, if you spend the time to learn one or two weapons, you can easily go in the tutorial and they explain, like, they don't say what's new, but if you played a lot of World, you can see like, oh, this weapon now can do this, etc., that sort of thing. Lots of quality of life features added. So in World, you were walking everywhere. In Rise, you had a new dog companion, which acted as your mounts, as well as wire bugs, which I love the wire bug system, but it's not in this new one. So mostly everyone who's going to be playing Rise, it's either your new game or you come straight from Monster Hunter World, and your new mount here is a gigantic chocobo, a giant chicken. So some quality of life stuff here is you have a handler that follows you everywhere now because it's Monster Hunter Wilds. The maps are supposed to be bigger. That character now, randomly picks stuff up for you. There's no more like box to pick up your supplies. It automatically gets sent to your chocobo. Your chocobo can run to anywhere you want. You just put a marker down, it goes anywhere. If you're finding a specific monster, when the quest starts, it'll automatically run towards the monster. When the monster runs away, it runs towards the monsters. A lot of like easy makes the game like, oh, you don't have to think about it, right? That's good and bad. I'll talk about like why later. Another good thing about the game is it was an international launch. It launched on the Japanese version, the English version. Also, it launched on PlayStation, on Steam, cross-platform play, which is awesome. When World came out and Rise came out, it sucked because it launched, like, for example, Rise launched on Switch, which is why I played it, and then a year later it came out on Steam, which is the best version to play it. Same thing with World. It was on PS4 for like a year, then it came out on Steam with the DLC. But here you don't have to wait, and thank God I don't have to buy the game twice this time. So yeah, it's all good to go. Another cool thing they added, a big mechanic, you can now bring two weapons with you at once. Usually you take one weapon, you set a quest, you go on the quest, you eat, you go on the quest, and you're good to go. Here you can have two weapons on you, so basically you can carry a greatsword, and then you go on your chocobo and you put it away and you pick back up an insect glaive or something. And yes, each of your weapons, they're all different depending on how you level them up, how you upgraded them, what different decorations you put on them. So you can really mix and match your playstyle. You can even have two of the same weapons out, like maybe one's really good with this elemental, one's good for affinity, so you can really have some fun there and make some more builds. You can also eat anywhere too, because the game is, catered towards the open worldness of the game. Like maps in Monster Hunter are really nice and confined. World was like probably the biggest maps, but this one is insane. Like maps are large, but there are still different biomes that you have to fast travel to. But here you can still eat in your tent, which is a super important part of Monster Hunter. Is like you have time based on your buffs for increasing your health, increasing your stamina, and getting other buffs. It's super important that you always eat, but this game made it so you can eat anywhere. As I said before, the handler follows you around. You can also pull out your little barbecue grill and just grill anything. So eating in this game is not really a big issue. You can always eat. Larger maps, I mentioned that, and they really did lower the grind. There's a new mechanic in this game called wounding. Now, wounding has been in the game, but that was more of part breaking. You would break a monster's like wing, for example, or you break their body part. Then at the end of the hunt, you would get extra sort of loot depending on what you break. Here, the loot comes to you right away. You break a monster part, and then boom, you get the stuff. You also, make it so the part of their body that you did wound is highlighted, and then you could activate a special move that's pretty much universal for everyone. You would hold down the focus button and then press an attack button, and then everyone gets like a cool new way of dealing extra damage and breaking those parts and giving you more materials overall. So you get more materials that way. So pretty much, let's say you have to grind a monster 5 times to get all their stuff. Maybe here 3.5, if you're really lucky. Okay, so that's the biggest selling point. I want to talk about the negative things about the game. So, well, once again, this is a lot of it's subjective. It's going to be my own personal opinion. In this game, a lot of people are going to love it. A lot of people are going to hate it. And currently, as I'm recording it, is mixed on Steam. But for one huge reason that everyone should give Capcom shit for is that this game has extremely terrible performance. Now we're going down the list of all the negative stuff, right? Really, really bad performance. Now this is crazy because I'm currently running a 4090 card, really high-end CPU, and I can run like Elden Ring, no problem, all that stuff. But here it's like, oh my god, you have to turn down so much. Like, so many people cannot play this game. And it's not even like they're complaining about like, oh, I don't get like 60 FPS, 30 FPS. No, it's choppy. At times it makes it almost unplayable. It is extremely jarring. So basically I played the majority of the game with my wife, and she had a laptop. I bought her a gaming laptop, but that is not even good enough to run it. So I ended up refunding it and then playing on the PS5. Thank God at least this game has crossplay. I have a really good gaming PC, and then we played on PS5, so we were able to crossplay there. But I also have a really another high-end laptop which it worked on. So we're running on three machines right now. Which is the PlayStation 5, which actually runs okay. I would play it in performance mode. On my gaming laptop, it's okay, except you turn everything down and you have to lower the resolution, which is completely fine. And then playing here on my regular PC, which works great. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna lower it down a bump on the textures anyway, and it's completely fine. Okay, so a big part of this game is the performance. Like, they made maps large, and I feel like that's a reason why a lot of it is as clunky as it is, because it had the view distance, it has to render so much stuff. But also, a lot of back end stuff they did not do. Like, there's better DLSS you can do to swap outs. The RE framework, which they're using this, it's not even updated all the way. And they had this issue, Capcom and stuff, like for example, in Final Fantasy, they were running really old stuff on there, and then someone did like a little bug fix, a little mod to fix it, and then Square Enix kind of took it and they fixed it up. It's kind of the same issue here, where because you're running on PlayStation 4, 5, PCs, lots of other PCs, you have to make the game run on the very lowest that you can, but then it also messes with a lot of the variables that a ton of other PCs can run. So that's a problem with old school consoles to new school and crazy hardware. That's usually the issue, but I think here they just really messed up. They added a lot of extra filters and stuff that can be removed with mods. People have done a lot of testing using a lot of filters and crap, and it makes the game run amazing. So yeah, the oh god, big negative for the performance. Luckily though, a lot of this can be fixed with future patches if Capcom decides to work on this ASAP, or at least if we're on PC, you can go to like Nexus, for example, and see some mods and do some testing yourself. Another thing that's pretty negative about the game, in my opinion, is the pacing is really terrible. So the story was never the huge big issue, like the biggest selling point of these games. It's always the grind and the game loop of, you know, you have your hub, you prepare for the hunts, you eat, you craft stuff, you prepare your radials, whatever you want. You go into a hunt with your friends or by yourself, you get teleported there, you do the monster, you do some looting, you go back to the hub, you repeat. That's basically what you want. In the world, they made it so the cutscenes were decent. Like you would watch them. Like I watched every cutscene in World. It was like pretty fun. But here, I'm sorry, the story was so boring. I think it sucked really hard. And what really is worse about it is they make you do so much walk-in chats, like a ton of walk-in chats that is unskippable. You can skip a little bit of dialogue, like spamming the button to go through dialogue, but oh my god, dude, I'm not even kidding when I say like 50% of the first couple of the first 10 so hours you have to listen to these NPCs talk, and it's so annoying. Oh man, it's kind of like a meme. I feel like they did this having so much story in order to get players used to the world, if that makes any sense, because you are walking and chatting, you are going through these biomes, and because they want to make this game a lot more accessible to a lot of people, you need a big overarching story to make the super AAA. But it doesn't need it. If the gameplay is good, if the loop is good, you just didn't need that stuff. I'd rather have more content. So also, speaking of content, the base game right now is very bare compared to expectations. Now a lot of people have counter arguments like, oh, World was, didn't have a lot of stuff, Monster Hunter Rise didn't have a lot of stuff, and yeah, that is true. You do have to actually wait until they come out with new content. There's like a title update coming in a month, then a couple months another title update. Those are free, but the big thing that we're all waiting for is when they're going to announce the gigantic DLC that's paid, which a lot of people will pay for, especially me, because you want more new areas, you want more monsters. Here you have low rank, high rank. We need master rank, god dang it, we need master rank. There's really no end game right now, at least not really. So basically the story is you go through and depending on if you're a new player or if you're a veteran, it's gonna take you around 10 to 20 hours to beat the game, to beat the overall low rank stuff, and then you get into higher rank, which is like the actual game loop, which is what people want, and then you start unlocking your actual hunter rank cap. But after that, you get a special quest after every couple of hunter ranks. But yeah, this is what the game is for me. Like, it sucks because I feel like the first dozen or so hours is even though they try to make it really good for players, I think it's not a good experience, because overall the multiplayer is garbage for story progression. As I mentioned, the first 10 to 20 hours before, it's the same thing with World, and it's this all comes down to a foundation issue where they're not able to put people in the same cutscenes for story progression. It's just how that their stupid a foundation framework works. But basically, you cannot go through the story together. And if they wanted this, they really wanted this to be a game that's open for new players. People want to bring in friends because it's all about, oh, I'm gonna hunt with my friends. It's going to be fun. My first time going in here. So people who are veterans who want to teach other people how to play, they can't go together. What happens is one player has to go through all the story, watch it themselves, and then has to, wait for someone to get to that same mission. Or actually, yeah, someone has to go really far ahead in the story. The other player then gets to go through their missions. And then when a hunt starts during their mission, so they have to wait through all the walking and chatting, because you can't skip the cutscenes. Not a lot of them. You have to wait till they do that. Then the person who was already ahead can jump in their SOS and jump in there. And then after the hunt's complete, they get kicked out back in the world. And then if they want to progress again, they have to wait for the person who's behind to go through all the crappy story, go to another hunt and do it again. Over and over and over again for 10 to 20 hours, which sucks. HR Plus is where the game shines and what the game should have been way earlier. Basically, you activate any investigation and you quickly just jump in and you teleport right there. Your friends couldn't jump right in the same lobby. It's so much better that way. I know that they're going to come out with the gathering hub because they said it, and that's going to fix up a lot of things. But yeah, as I mentioned, there's no end game yet. Basically, you just get your, after like what, HR 50 or 70, that's the final optional mission that's available right now. And you basically defeat a tempered version of the what's the last guy? Oh, the flagship monster, the big chain guy. And then that's it. There's nothing left to do because you're waiting for master rank and you're waiting for more monsters to come out. So you're just grinding out the final armors and then you're done with the game. That is it. And basically, if you know what you're doing, you can finish all the content, literally all the content in the game in 30 to 50 hours. Then you're done. That's depending on how long you take. If you want to just, relax and explore the area, play with the friends, do some SOS and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of other mechanics that I won't dive too deep into. But for example, they reworked NPC gathering, which is super annoying in past games. You have NPCs in town, which you say, oh yeah, can you try to collect like some bugs for me, try to collect some herbs for me, and then after a mission you come back, and after 2 missions you come back, after 3 missions you come back, and then they get you more and more stuff. Here in the game, oh my god, they really need to fix this. A lot of the game you're doing exactly what I just said, optionals and quests. You go do a quest, you come back, you do a quest, and you come back, time has not passed by in the game, nothing gets gathered. It's really stupid. You have to go in and wait real time or go in and rest. They really need to fix that. The artisan weapons that are in the late game here, which they kind of had something like this in the world, but those weapons kind of sucked. Here they made them a little bit better, but basically you have you hunt monsters and you make weapons and armors depending on the equipment that you get. Here now, high-level monsters can drop sort of pieces and bits that are randomly generated for attack or affinity and different sorts of elements, and then you combine them to make the weapon you want. And then after you make that weapon, you can upgrade them again with using more resources in order to roll different stats on them. So basically, you can roll and roll and roll to make a really powerful weapon. I feel like that kind of sucks because it takes away from the real monster weapons. They're pretty comparable and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like that should not be part of the late game. It should be other stuff. I don't know. I really don't like that system. And another thing they did was all the weapons now have skills. Some of them did, but now everything, like they separated armor skills and weapon skills. For example, Lance's guarding skill, like guard up skill and extra defense, that cannot go on a armor skill. It goes on the weapon. I think it makes sense because you have to actually have the weapon on you. You can have 2 weapons on you during your running around, so that's why I guess they did it that way. But they made it so it's catering to multiple weapons. But basically you have a lot more, like it's very, very easy to make builds now. Oh, speaking of easy, the game's way too freaking easy. I think this is the last thing I'll talk about. The game's super insanely easy. Now, I'm talking as a veteran of the series, playing for over a decade. The game's way too easy. And I'm not just saying that because I know how to play. The monsters' HP are way too low. They run fast. They run away way too fast. You're not getting enough time with the monsters to actually learn and have fun and understand them. Unless you're super crazy, like, super new. And I watch people stream this. I watch other people review this. They say the same thing. It's way too easy, even for new players. Even going into HR, like going through the regular story of 10 to 20 hours. Never, like maybe I had to upgrade one time, but you can go through it with like some of the very, very basic weapons. The only thing you need to upgrade is the weapon, barely. And then your armor sets, like you don't care too much about, getting the correct armors or getting the correct decorations because you don't need it. It's way too easy. They give you so many ways to like mitigate a lot of the stuff that made Monster Hunter good. Now I want to talk about that as well. The chocobo. I love the dog in Rise, and the chocobo here is really good for running around. But the way that they made it so every time you take damage and get knocked back, you can whistle and call your chocobo to pick you up. It's a great mechanic, but overall, it makes the game way too easy, and it takes away a lot of the fun and skill with the game. It makes monster fighting a joke. When you get knocked back, in World, for example, you sit there and you're like, okay, do I wait to get up? Do I roll away because the monster's about to attack me? You're in danger. Here, you just basically call your chocobo, boom, he runs away, and then you heal and you jump back out and you get hit again, do it again. Now, they added that mechanic in World. However, instead of calling your dog, you would use your wire bug to jump away. But guess what? The wire bug had cooldowns and charges, which made it so you had to manage using those wire bugs for offensive or keep it for defense. And that's why I really love the wire bug system. The chocobo really takes away from a lot of the tension in battles. Another thing that I feel like the chocobos do wrong is they auto make you run everywhere, and that's not good. The first 20 or so of the game, you're just walking and chatting and quickly going through stages and not spending the time to look at it, run around and figure out how to gather and learning the maps, because the maps are very large. A lot of the chocobo segments are, you know, jumping places where the player can't go in order to go to new places. So you set it and forget it, you run to the monster, and then you're not really knowing the map. If you throw down a, you know, Monster Hunter World map right in front of me, I can walk through without a map. I know exactly where to go, because you know why? It's small enough but large enough, and they made me walk around and actually hunt the monsters, aka Monster Hunter. You would go around and you would pick up fireflies, you know, you would pick up scratches and scent marks, and then you would run around and find stuff yourself to learn where the monsters spawn and where they go. Here, who cares? You just go in the chocobo and then you automatically run. It's so, once again, it's supposed to be quality of life, but at the same time, it takes away from the hunting aspect of the game. Like, why do they do it that way? Also, because of the way it is that way, a lot of skills in the game are now stupid and moot. Sharpening in the game used to be a risk reward thing. You know, your way you attack and your weapons getting like dull, you would have to sharpen. You would have to wait till the monster ran away. You would flash him. You would run away. Here, it doesn't matter. You get on your chocobo, you go ahead and sharpen, and you can continue going back into it. So a lot of the skills, such as, you know, speed sharpening, who gives a shit about speed sharpening? You go on your thingy and then you're good to go. They also made it easier. Every time you sharpen, every animation increases the sharpness, instead of waiting for you to do 3 to 4 cycles of charging before your weapon goes all the way up. It's just a lot of stuff that's just, yeah, the game is top-notch combat for sure, but they made the game, I think, way too easily, man. They made it way too easy. Like, it just, you're not in danger. You're just not in danger a lot of the time. Really aren't. Simply because of the chocobo. I love that damn thing. It's good for running around, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's like, you have to play it a lot. Even if you're new, you will understand, like, I'm not in any danger. You know, the monsters don't feel like monsters. It's just like, okay, it's just quick kill this thing and move on. I don't feel like I'm in danger. And no matter what monsters in the game, it doesn't really matter. At least we'll see. So overall, I'm giving the game a 7.0, and that's the base game. Once it goes up, well, you know, terrible performance, very, very terrible launch performance. It's inexcusable how bad it runs on a lot of people's machines. The clunky multiplayer story progression is very bad. You cannot play with your friends and go through the story. You have to go forward, go backwards, go forward, go backwards. It's really stupid. It's all about the endgame multiplayer anyway, but once again, that's a lot to ask for people who are new to the game. That's, you know, you tell them you can't really play exact one-to-one multiplayer progression with your friends. That really sucks. There's a lot of very good changes to combat, weird and / odd changes to quality of life that does hurt the game in the future. Like I said, it doesn't, like, I don't feel in danger at all when I'm playing. There's no real end game right now until we get more updates, you know, weekly events, new monsters every month or something. Still waiting on that large DLC. I'm done playing the game. I'm just gonna do like, you know, I'm just gonna collect the stuff I need and then look back every week to see like what new event is, and maybe we can do those hunts. But you know, we're just waiting. We really are just waiting. I'm 100% sure 1 to 2 years from now, if you jump on in, it's gonna be a much better experience than you are now, and then the game will jump up to an 8 or 8.5 for me. I expected more from this game, and I don't know. It's a very beloved franchise, and the reason why everyone is quote unquote, like, you know, upset with it or they expected more, is because we really love the game, you know. And World left off on a really, really great note, and I don't want to call it a side game, but you know, basically the adjacent game of Rise added a lot new experimental mechanics that they brought in over here. But this game, expectedly, it's, you know, it should be above Rise, it should be above World, but it feels like it's just adjacent, slightly higher, just slightly higher in terms of like how good it is. Once again, it's gonna get better in the future, but playing this as a new person or veteran, it's 100% still worth playing, as long as you temper your expectations going in and just, you know that, hey, it's gonna be easy. You know, it's crazy. I cannot believe we're Hunter rank 70 plus waiting for, you know, after 3 days of playing and we're just left with nothing. It's like a wet fart. So I love Monster Hunter. I want more. And once again, that's why I make this video. This is a long ass review, guys. I don't know how long I've been talking, maybe 25 minutes or so. I love the game. I want to talk about my gripes, and I want to give my personal opinions on some of the new mechanics here and how I feel like it takes away from the game and what makes it super easy. So that's it. I'm sure there's some things I forgot to cover, but I just wanted to sit here and rant and give you my thoughts. But yeah, if anyone got to the end of this video, thank you so much. And let me know in the comments, what do you agree? What do you disagree with? What do you think should have been added? What should have been removed, etc. So yeah, let's have a discussion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.